Hey guys, thank you for watching or listening to the podcast. This is the first episode ever in the Submission District podcast, and this is your host Angela Chiriaco from Submission District, and I'm here with our very special guest Stuart Ramos. He is a sensei that I met from Maryland when I was in Virginia. He's the owner of Team Maryland BJJ and then Jason Morris Judo in Maryland. I met him at the tournament, and I believe, and he invited me over to his dojo so I can train with his fellow students. He is also a founder of Beef Stews Capital, where he teaches people to find their financial freedom with stock trading. So, welcome, Sensei Stu. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining the session with us. Is there anything that I missed?
No, that's the brunt of it.
Awesome, awesome. So, the reason why I invited you to sit here with me virtually, because of COVID virus, is I wanted to know. I know a lot of dojos and the athletes being affected. Not just the athlete, like literally everyone has been affected by COVID-19, right? Especially a lot of small businesses are suffering, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure dojos are suffering as well. So I wanted to know, like, I'm curious, like, how COVID-19's affecting has been affecting dojos in the United States. So, um, like the dojos and the tournament has been like either postponed or canceled. So I'm curious, like, how that affect you as a dojo owner.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And when it comes to small businesses, most small businesses revolve around a mom and pop kind of
Mm,
ownership, less than 500 employees, and any business revolves around their n squared number, and that's net user base.
mm,
So that's customers, subscribers, foot traffic. That's how they derive a lot of their customers, their user base, and their subscriptions. So when that gets cut off, then their revenue probably goes down 90%, and the 10% makes up of if they buy a product online or if they have some kind of video that they share with their membership. So the 90-10 rule, it kind of flips, right? They lost
mm,
90% of their revenue because now they can't have classes. Now they can't service customers. So they have to do it virtually, like how we're doing now,
mhm.
right? And not not that many dojos are good at that because when you try something new, you have to build a whole new skill set,
Right.
right? And not everybody is a pro at doing Zoom, what to film, a curriculum. The curriculum is hard because a live curriculum is kind of easy, right? For you can do it by time because they're there. So 10, 15 minutes warm up, show some kind of directional thing, some kind of move, and then randori. Well,
Right.
that format is not that great. You're trying to, if somebody's training alone by themselves and you're trying to teach them through a platform like Zoom, you can't put your hands on them.
Mm,
And you don't know who's getting lost in the move because all the screens and all the little ones are small, so you won't get that detailed instruction. So how does that translate to price? You cannot charge as much because it's not a hands-on instruction. Like that's what makes instruction for our business expensive because there is an instructor live on the mat there teaching you. So when it's virtual, you might not get that instruction, and the students they might not know because they're practicing with themselves. They might not know how good they're getting, so it's hard to make those markers. So
mm.
it's very devastating right now for a lot of dojos that don't have that element of online classes and reoccurring revenue.
That's true. And especially a lot of dojos, like dojo owner, are kind of like maybe not familiar with technologies as well because like they've
They
been
hate it.
training. Yeah, yeah, they've been like just doing the sports and then like know how to
Yeah,
throw. Like
right.
maybe like some people having hard time throwing technologies in the computer screen. So
Yeah, they're
definitely.
making dummies out of pillows and stuff. I don't care how heavy you have the pillow.
Right.
When somebody like me presses you, it feels like a truck sitting on your chest. And how are you going to simulate that?
That is so
You get all the
true.
pillows in the house. You can't really simulate, but you can be effective if it's something that a little, like Hawaiians always say, a little better is better than nothing, right? So just to keep them involved, get them used to using it, because this is the new norm. You're going to have a virtual element. People are going to work from home. People are going to stay in their offices. The social distancing, it's going to be there. It's going to be prevalent when the economy restarts. And we don't know what the restart's going to look like, right? And we don't know who's going to restart first. But when the economy restarts, there's still going to be an aspect of people going to wear masks now. And I remember in 86 or 87 that Michael Jackson went to Africa or something, and he was wearing a mask. And the media was all over Michael Jackson. He was just ahead of his time.
That is true. That
was
so
it.
Funny.
He was wearing a mask. And then he put masks on all his kids and stuff. And everybody called him crazy, but now everybody's got him on. So, what is the new norm? It's gonna be hard when we restart.
Right. Also, like having a mask in America isn't a culture. When I went to Korea, so many people are already wearing a mask, like as if that's part of their daily life. Like if they have a cold and they wear a mask, and then no one thinks it's a weird thing. So I thought it was weird too, and now it's a normal here. So yeah, but so like going virtual for the dojo, I'm assuming like so many dojo has a kid, like not a teenager, but more like maybe early teenagers or just like a mid teenagers as a student. And I can't imagine how it would be hard for them to focus and then keep them motivated to keep training without having their coaches right next to them and be like give them a pep talk and then like be them like kind of like push them in person next to them. Like I feel like it would be pretty challenging to for the dojos to keep them motivating and then reminding them to continue training. So is there something that you've been doing since you mentioned about virtual training? Is there something that you've been doing in your jiu-jitsu and the judo dojo for your student during this like pandemic?
Well, for myself, because our thing is elite level judo,
Right.
And the jiu-jitsu that we use is mostly self-defense. I did write a full curriculum for the jiu-jitsu, so most of my jiu-jitsu membership are made out of little older couples, professionals, 30 years old and above, so they can practice with each other. I'm not really worried about that. I can lend them some mats so they can do it at home, and we Zoom or whatnot, but I don't have an active curriculum, just because for as you know, our judo club is to produce elite level. But the dojo owners, they have to look at this as actually opportunity.
Oh.
Because what is the one thing that they always say, like, and we get this a lot, from the NBA area, is when November, December starts rolling around, the kids leave and they do wrestling, right? The kids leave and they do basketball. The kids leave, they do football. The kids leave and they do baseball. All those ball sports. Now, look at the parents now. Now, I mean, they like the ball sports because maybe it's something they did or it's something easy to cheer for or something. But right now, martial arts has no challenge. We have no competitors. And we did the one thing that those sports cannot do. We got into the homes. Right now, you can beam your stream, your curriculum to the home. So if you look at it, your student is not here but there, right? And you just look at it that way, how can I keep charging them? You're missing the opportunity. You got into the mothership, you got into the house. You can use that to get the rest of the family involved. What do they have to do? They have a whole bunch of nothing to do right now. You can't act like you're busy in the next room, right? And have your kid doing the jiu-jitsu by himself or judo by himself. Get on a gi. Don't get on a gi. Just get in there, get involved. And you have to be creative. You have to be a little creative about it. If you are a savvy martial artist with a little bit of teaching background, this is a golden time for you. You have zero competition. You have zero any kind of regulation. No one's telling you that you're doing a bad job because they don't know. There's no viewership. It's not going to be like a fishbowl. And every time you do something in there, another sensei or another club or another person walking by is going to comment on it. No, you're in the house unsullied. So for me, if I'm doing a lot of consulting right now for these guys, and I'm like, hey, look, you did the one thing fell into your lap. You have no competition from the ball sports. You don't have anybody else looking over your shoulder, choking your curriculum, telling that you're doing things wrong. You get to be creative with your students, get into their house and expose the whole family to your art. I go, this is actually
Right.
this is like actually the best time for people to go. And like people always say, like, they're gonna other ones that told me, like, I don't like to do stocks or I don't like to do trading. I'm gonna wait till the market's crashing. Okay, it's crashing. This is this is the time to get in. You have to look at it as an opportunity. If you always look like what you can't do, or things are a little bit harder because you don't have a gym and you don't have 30 training partners and stuff, you're missing the opportunity. The opportunity is you have no competition. You're in the house and you have a captive audience. They're looking at the screen at you. You cannot get the kids to sit still and look at you for 5 minutes in a judo class. Those guys are running all over the place, taking their belts off, looking at each other, poking. Now you have a captive audience because kids now are trained from 1, 2, 3 years old to look at a screen. They look at the kids nowadays and how they teach school, and look at their devices. They are trained to look at a screen. So now you're accommodating the medium to teach them. Opportunity. It's a golden era for people that are savvy.
Wow. I didn't think in that way. So it's really interesting. So like normally in the dojo, when kids are training, like parents normally come at the end of the class so they can pick them up, right, after the work.
Yeah.
So, but now since they're together at home stuck, and then their kids need a partner to train with. So you're using that as an opportunity for parents to be involved. So later on,
Not
after
you.
COVID, not me.
Yeah, not it's you. Lend your leg, lend your arm. Stand there like a tree. You don't gotta be a good athlete to stand there.
That's,
Put a belt on. Let me tug on it.
yeah, that's true.
Now look at the things that are happening now, global macro wise. There's like organic things that are gonna happen, right? Because it's everybody has their zone that they're in, right? If you're a 12-year-old, your zone is you go to school for X amount of hours, you have X amount of after school activities, and then you have the forced family time, right? Now you're bringing that zone into the home. If you're the breadwinner, you're going out in the daytime, you're doing your job, you're in your zone, and you have a different cohort, and then you come home and then you do that forced family time. But now you're bringing all those zones into the house. Those things are gonna buck.
Hmm.
They're gonna rub. Sometimes it rubs the wrong way. And a good way to get past it is to find a median that they can all get around. To find something common, some kind of goal, and just say, hey, okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity. And I've seen my kid do this because you see it at the judo tournaments. Any parent coach that has never put on a gi should be quiet. They shouldn't say anything, maybe cheer, but they're yelling out moves from the stands, and it actually is dangerous, right?
Mhm.
Because the kid, you get the coach 3 times a week for an hour and a half. You get your parents for the rest of it, right? So the kid looks automatic to the parent in the stand, like the dad knows what he's talking about, and the kid gets smashed, right? Now is an opportunity for that parent to get in there and realize how hard it is. I said, nobody loves teachers more than the parents now.
That is so
The
true.
parents that have to teach your kids.
I love
You have
that.
to open up
I
the
love
algebra
that.
book, and it looks like ancient Chinese secrets, man. They're looking at that thing, and they're like, I can't wait for it. I was like, Kiana, as soon as you go back to school, every one of your teachers gets a gift. I don't care what it is. They get a gift, and they all get pizza parties or whatever. They're all gonna get gift certificates to a Capitol Grill.
Yeah, Teachers Appreciation Day every day.
Yeah, whatever,
all
man.
day.
I'll throw them a carnival.
Uh,
I was like, because I'm watching a couple kids at my house, through the times, just in
right.
family situations and whatnot. And I'm always that guy. Like, I'm the first to volunteer because I come from a pretty big home in Hawaii, and that's just how we do, right? So I have all the kids here, and I still use it. The dojo's empty, but I use it as my garage. You see me cleaning my car and stuff. That's just for me to get peace. because I training all mornings. I have that huge group. I answer a lot of questions all day. I do consulting for a lot of hedge funds and stuff, and then I have to deal with the kids. So I need a break, and I
Right.
gotta get my zone out from rubbing in with a teenage zone, and
Right.
it
You have
just
a really cool hobby. Like, didn't you like recently build a car or like change the accessory in your car?
yeah. So I have 11 cars, and I
Wow.
have they're mostly like Toyotas and Lexuses and stuff like that. And then I recently changed over to Mercedes, and I've been watching YouTube videos. I learned how to detail because this is an opportunity too. Like I'm taking Chinese classes. I'm taking Python fintech classes online at Harvard. Or I'm learning how to speak Russian.
Wow.
So it's an opportunity because I like to learn,
Right.
and I'm always putting myself in that learning position. I'm always trying to up my skill set. So right now I'm trying to do all these things and run the group. So I'm actually having. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm actually having a great time because
That's really
now
great to hear.
everybody's home. Everybody's
That's
they're
so
easy
true.
they're easy to get a hold of. I text them, "What are you doing?" Nothing. Hey, log on with me and hey, let's go take this Chinese class. Or a couple of my friends that are coders, usually they're on the road, but they're all home now. So if I have a question, they're easy to get a hold of. So, I just right now it's hard on everybody. I mean, I see people losing their jobs. Default rates are going up. It's like 20 million people unemployed. Oil is crashing, and people don't understand that oil, one of those fossil fuels, is one of the things that builds our economy.
Hmm.
So with oil crashing, a lot of their 401ks are linked to oil stocks, and the oil stocks are all-time lows. So your pensions and stuff, those things never gone down for 50 or 100 years,
Yeah,
and
it's
now it's at
crazy.
all-time lows at zero. So if you have a retirement fund right now and 401ks, I mean, I'm sorry, but those 401ks and pensions, they only work when the economy is going up. It
Mm.
doesn't get you out when it goes down. They don't have like a trader. If it goes down a little bit, we get out, right? We get out the way and let it fall, get back in. The metrics, the mechanics of a 401k doesn't work like that. So I know people, if you're going to retire soon, you just have to kick that out in a few years. So give it a
That's
chance to recover.
that can be pretty devastating for some people.
Yeah, man, I knew a lot of people that retired in 2008, 2009 with nothing.
That's
They worked
sad.
30, 40 years, and they retired with nothing. Like literally, like $295
Wow,
was
that's
one of the
sad.
ones I saw. So it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I saw like I am expecting I wouldn't say expecting, but then like I can't see like a lot of like small businesses or even like dojos closing around like this time because like dojo as much as they have a passion to teach kids and like people, not just kids, people, and then do the martial arts, still like dojo and the teaching people and then get charged by it as a way of their living, right? Part of their living. And then they probably have to pay the rent, they probably have to pay for their family. So
Yep, it's a whole
yeah,
bailout for them.
yeah. So we're running out of time, but then like I have a last question for you.
Go ahead.
Um, like this COVID virus seems like it's only getting extending, and then like seems like there is no solutions coming out so far because we don't know when this will end, and then many dojos are already struggling in so many angles. How would you advise, if you have any advice for them, how would you advise other dojos to respond to the pandemic in financially or just in the coaching capacity? Do you see like whole like a dynamic shift of its own system, like a educating system, even like after COVID virus?
Well, there's a lot of metrics to that. First, the dojo mechanics of finance, curriculum, students, retention. When you're a dojo owner in the beginning, unfortunately, you're wearing all the hats.
Hmm.
And because most of us that start dojos are probably good at the martial art, so we're white belts and everything else and black belts in one thing. So that's kind of a recipe for disaster in the first place, right? And you don't want to be that person. You don't want to. be the master of everything because you're going to be busy as hell. So what I would do, I mean, if you have a bank, right? If you bank somebody, because it's a business, right? So if you have an LLC or corporation, I would really lean on your bank. First things I would do, I would draw down all credit lines, everything, every single penny. I would say, like, they'd ask you, do you want a credit line for this? You want to apply for a credit card? Sure. What are my odds of getting it? And then all of those things, we all pay like this health club fee that's with the state. And now those guys have to come out and service us because we've been paying a lot of money into this thing. And it's like, oh, it's for you guys, for your membership. They haven't given out $0 from those fees that we pay every year for health club. Nothing. It doesn't help us collect money from people who are delinquent. It doesn't help us market. It doesn't help us gain a student. It doesn't help us retain a student. And it doesn't help us service a student. So that side is done. Business side, it doesn't help us get loans. It doesn't lend money. It doesn't do anything. So what kind of fee is this? Is it just a tax? So, that's one problem. Another one, take your PPP and try to draw that down. File for SBA loan. And the SBA loans, as far as I know, because I consult for people that are trying to fill that out. If you answer something wrong with the SBA loan, you cannot go in there and change it and then resubmit it. You have to submit a whole nother one. And you have to be with your bank because your bank is going to expedite this. So the bank has a portal for the SBA, right? And you get all your ducks in order and you submit it to your bank. And your bank pushes it through the portal. And then it waits for the distributions. That's it. But you have to start that process. You have to stay on it. I would say just stick with it. It's going to be rough. I mean, and then servicing your clients. I mean, nobody was a professional at Zoom before this. Now everybody's on it. There's Google Hangouts. There's Microsoft Teams. There's a lot of platforms that you can go, and I would try them all. Like one day, or your family's home, have everybody log onto the devices and then make a room so you can get in there and see what you have. See what you have. Look around. If I have a belt in my house, man, every judo person that does judo in the world has a belt or a gi. Can I hang it on the door? You got to get creative with it. And there's no wrong thing. People love effort in crisis. They love it. Like, my heart goes out to all our first responders, all of our nurses and our doctors that are working right now. They're giving us effort. They're working 16-hour days, no sleep, sleeping down there, poor ventilators and all that stuff. And it's effort, and we're cheering them on, right? So you have that opportunity as an instructor to be that for your students. You have an opportunity to get on there and really shine, with your students and really engage with them on a different level. It's a captive audience when it's just you and I, right? And we don't know who's watching. We don't know. We don't know who we're going to motivate. So always try and stay positive in this time. You know what I mean? Keep your lessons positive. And before you end your lesson, make sure that they know that they're not alone. Because some people are in their house, they're social animals. You cut them off from daycare, you cut them off from school, you cut them off from after-school activities, socializing, meeting up in the mall, going to the park. All that got cut off. So now they feel alone. You've got to make your students feel that they're not alone in this crisis, and it is going to get better.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. That was deep. I liked it. It was really interesting too. Wow, thank you so much for your time, Sensei Stu. That was my last question. And yeah, it's a wrap.